What's up, guys? You know what it is. We are back once again, and we are for another review. And it's been a minute since we have done, I would say, a full game review. Now, I will say this a lot of my story theories that I did, and a lot of. Because my last review was of Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, and I know with Resident Evil, I was really looking forward to this game. Because again, there wasn't a whole lot of games that came out last year or even now this year that I've really been psyched about. Now, Resident Evil overall has been one of my favorite franchises growing up. Now, this one, I will say, it really took a new head to the series. It really did. And when I say that, you guys know why, but stick around. If you guys have already played the game, stick around, let me know what you think. If you haven't, if you guys don't want to be spoiled, click off the video, then go check it out. But we are going to be talking a lot about Resident Evil right now. I mean, a lot. Because there was so much that happened in this game that really threw me that I had to go back and look up videos so I could fully understand what was going on. Now, the entire story, you guys should already know. It's been 3 years after the events of the Baker incident in Resident Evil 7. Mia and Ethan, they have moved over somewhere over in Europe. Chris helped them. Chris even helped give Ethan military training. They have a child together, Rosemary, and they've been happy. But at the same time, at the beginning of the game, you see where Ethan is with Mia reading Rose's story. They try to talk. Seems like Mia has, not herself. And the next thing you know, they're trying to have dinner. Mia gets lit up, literally just shot nonstop. And the next thing you know, Chris comes in, kills Mia, then takes Rose and Ethan hostage. Then takes them to a van. They get ambushed. Ethan wakes up. Rose is nowhere to be found. He goes into a village, and he's surrounded by all these monsters. Is what we are seeing right now. He gets taken by one of the four lords, Heisenberg, and then he meets all these four lords. Of course, Lady Gamster, as I think you say her name, and then of course you got Heisenberg, and you got others. Now, I will say, I'm going to get in a lot of spoilers. I'm going to try to, sum this up. What we initially had in this game, so that where the first part of the game, you are trying to survive, and then you run, then you go through Lane Demskira's, then you go through the one with the doll, I can't remember her name, then you go through the hunchback looking figure character, and then you go and fight Heisenberg after you fight some other characters, and then of course you fight Mother Miranda. So to initially give you guys, and this again is going to be a lot of spoilers, so again, but Mother Miranda somehow knew Spencer way back when, and he was very invested with her in work. So again, don't know what kind of relationship they had. They had some kind of relationship, and she lost her daughter to the flu, to the Spanish flu, and she couldn't handle it, and so she got into where she created these other beings, where we saw from Lady Demskira where she was possibly going to be the best version because she was the first, but she needed blood to sustain her life, so obviously that's why she has a vampire personality. Then the other three daughters, which you do battle, and you battle Lady Demskira, because she wasn't in the game that much, which I know a lot of people, including myself, was a little disappointed on, sense of how popular she became, obviously. The daughters were like miniature bosses where you have to use the coal to kill them. And Lady Demskira, she transformed, she's this beautiful, very tall, vampiric-like lady, and then she just becomes this dragon-like monster. And it was really interesting. And then we also see with the one with the dolls, obviously she uses dolls and other almost like a hypnosis to make you see something that's not there. And then we have all these other miniature characters that you fight, like the one that's like the major werewolf, and that is not Heisenberg. I'm going to repeat this now. This is not Heisenberg. Same thing where we think Chris is the villain. Chris is not the villain in this story, and I will get to that in a minute. Chris is not the villain. He's not. We have where Ethan's story does come to an end here. It does. You guys have been trying to stay away from spoilers. Again, Chris initially wanted to protect Ethan, Mia, and Rose. It all goes to hell because Miranda learns about Rose being born because she wants to resurrect her daughter. The other 4 she has made or kidnapped, then / made with whatever of her experiments to try to bring her daughter back. Rose is the best candidate, wait for it, because of her having part of Evelyn's DNA. Evelyn is mixed DNA between Miranda's daughter and the experiment of the mold, because the mold originated there. That was in the 7th game. Yes. And the reason why that is, ladies and gentlemen, is because Ethan died. Apparently Ethan died in 7, and that was the reason why he was unable to survive all his conditions throughout the 7th game and now this game. And Chris found out that Miranda was impersonating Mia. That is the reason why he infiltrated the house and killed her, because Ethan thought that was Mia. It was not Mia, it was Miranda. So we did have where it was Mia that survived. It was Mia that was taken. Mia was shown that she was taken at some point in the film, or at some point in the game. You do find her. And another spoiler, guys, we do get to play as Chris. We get to play as Chris at one point, and when we do get to play as Chris, and just the setting of this, because you have where you go through your trials, you get your miniature, well, not miniature bosses, but you get your minor bosses, then you get your big boss. You have the 3 daughters that are the minor bosses. You got the alpha werewolf, I guess you'd say, is a minor boss, and then you have another character who is almost like a butcher, I guess you'd say, is a minor boss. Then you have also like a mechanical type monster, that's another minor boss. But then you got the big bosses, obviously the 4, and then you got, of course, Miranda, which is the main boss. And then you also have where instead of the shopkeeper, you have the Duke, and the Duke is pretty much what, I guess, it does bring up the shopper from Resident Evil 4, and I guess that them two know each other for story-wise. And the entire time, why you keep seeing Umbrella as a logo in this is because, obviously, with Spencer having to be knowing Miranda at this point in time, and all these years and all these experiments, as well as then when we get to see Chris has been in the shadows trying to tail Miranda and the other 4, and Ethan is basically taking them out trying to find his daughter. And then when he finally does come in contact with Chris is trying to tell him, stay out of it, get away, don't do this. And then finally, when it gets revealed that Chris did not kill Mia, that he was trying to kill Miranda and protect them, that he should have let him in on the plan, but he was afraid if he did, then of course everyone would know. And then finally, when it gets revealed that Evelyn's DNA is in Ethan, and then Ethan, of course, has a child with Mia, her blood is going to be in her. So now, at the very end of the game, when you kill Miranda, Ethan gives up his life to protect Rose, gives her to Chris, tells him to tell her to, basically look after her and teach her to be strong. And Mia has to handle now the death of her husband, as well as giving up his life for not only his wife, but also his daughter, and bringing his daughter back, as well as also now Chris feeling guilty that he should have told Ethan about the plan, and maybe Ethan would have been able to help in another way, but now Ethan is dead. And we go 15 years later or more, and then we see where Rose is now a teenager, goes to her father's grave, and apparently Chris is leading his own, or either is leading his own or almost leading his own corporation, I guess, with the Blue Umbrella Company possibly. and we may have almost like a Sherry situation or something of that nature, to where she's going to be able to use her powers and basically tells one agent that there's things that not even Chris knows she can do. So it's been pretty interesting for this game. There was a lot going on in this game. Gameplay was pretty much the same as 7. It was still very intense. The monsters were very well done, and it does make sense for the Resident Evil lore. They do put it in the Resident Evil lore of it making sense. Then, as well as also how they did Chris, that was very interesting. And at the same time, we see a scene where you're playing as Chris, where you're trying to wipe out whatever's left in the village and get in and destroy Miranda yourself, because again, you don't know Ethan's alive. You don't, because you think Ethan is dead, and then he comes back to continue his rampage against Miranda, because we see in a scene where he has a hallucination seeing Evelyn and basically explaining to him that he died in 7 and that he is not as human as he thinks he is. So we have that scene, and then of course we see where Chris finds Mia, and then of course we find out that Mia had a suspicion about Ethan about this entire time, and she was taken however long ago. And then I will say that we do get to see the BSA in here, but at the same time they were using bioweapons, and we don't know the necessary reason why it was using bioweapons, and that's going to be possibly discussed at some point in a sub game or another maybe Resident Evil 9 or something. But as of right now, Ethan's story is done. I really enjoyed this game. They brought puzzles back, which again, I'm not a big fan of the puzzles, but again, that's part of Resident Evil. The action was very well done. The horror was very well done. To me, there was maybe only 2 jump scares in this game, and overall, if you guys are following me on my Twitter and Instagram, obviously I did a good playthrough. I was not able to do the last of it due to my internet, so I fully apologize about that. I know I didn't really have a lot of viewers looking at it, but I do let you guys know when I go live for a game, whether it be on my community tab or Twitter or anything of that nature. But I really enjoyed playing the game. It took me 8 hours to beat. Now, initially, the playthrough is between 12 to 15 hours, depending, I guess, whatever you're doing, between how far you can get through the levels, as well as also the puzzles and everything else. So, I enjoyed it. 1 out of 10, I give it probably a 9 or a 9.5. I think there's a lot more to be discussed for the Resident Evil franchise. I'm looking forward to discussing more on the channel with you guys. But let me know what you guys thought about the game. Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys hate it? Was it okay? 1 out of 10, what would you guys rate it? Again, this is going to be out Tuesday, so I was going to have another video for you, but it's going to be postponed for later. That way I can get this out, so that way I can go ahead, since Resident Evil is such a hot topic right now, I figure I'll go ahead and talk about it with you guys. But let me know overall what you guys think about this down in the comments. Hope you guys are enjoying your day or your week. And as always, guys, click the notification bell so you guys are notified every time I upload. Also, leave a like on the video, helps me get the algorithm. I greatly appreciate every one of you. And as always, I'll see you on the next one.